Alright, and welcome back to another Gloom Style review. I'm your host, TJ Duckett. What we have here today is the Play Imaginative Super Alloy Batman, the Jim Lee edition. We're going to go ahead and start out here on the table because this box is much too big for my shooting table. It's at least a good 15-16 inches tall. This box is, even though it's just a 1/6 figure. So, just taking a look at the box itself, has the etched in, not etched, but sketch of Batman, as well as an embossed Bat logo. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit. There we go. Just so you guys can see that part. Alright, now zooming back out. Walking back over here. Alright, it's just a finish off of the Batman sketch. Another Bat logo. This one, can't really tell if it's embossed or stuck over, but silver Bat logo. Not too much on the back. Just Play Imaginative logo. DC Comics here on the bottom. And another Bat symbol on the side. So okay, we'll go ahead and take this to the shooting table and get started with the review. Alright, and we're going to start off by looking at the accessories that come with this awesome piece of work. He actually doesn't come with much, but the stuff that he does come with is very cool. So first we'll take a look at, zoom in here, the weapons. Alright. He does come with his grappling gun here. You can see. And these are very nicely detailed. There is the etching for the bat signal and things like that. You do have the etching into the grip and whatnot. Yeah, it's well done. Okay, we'll put that to the side. Comes with two batarangs. They're kind of like bat knuckles though. The way that they fit in is like so through the fingers. Okay, we'll get more into his finger articulation and stuff like that when we get to the section for the figure itself. And then they just kind of slide through and go over like so. And that's why I kind of call them bat knuckles more than anything, because as much as they're batarangs, they aren't really put in a position to get thrown by him, as much as it seems like, you know, he kind of punched somebody in the face with those. Okay? So, we'll also take a look at how well the gun fits into his other hand here. Alright, and he does have really good articulation on his hand, which makes it easy for him to hold the weapon as well. And on both ends, you can see even with shaking and whatnot, there isn't play in the gun or the batarang there. So, yeah, it's actually good stuff. Okay. Alright, and there's that. So, looking at his other accessories, zooming out a bit here. Like I said, he comes with two bat knuckle thingamajiggies. The next one's going to be the cape. The cape, since this figure is die cast, has two magnets here on the shoulder ends. Right here and right here. You can tell which side of the cape's the inside because it does have the inseaming and whatnot. These are wire, so you can bend the cape, you know, however you want it to go. So, simple enough. These two peg it. Now, well, not peg in, but actually magnet and hold there. So that's how his cape goes on. I do wish the magnets were a bit stronger. Kind of wish I had the skills to sew a stronger magnet into there. Might be something I have to have the missus do, but still awesome. I don't have problems with it coming off or anything like that, but it's just finding that sweet spot to really get on and looking well in the first place. That kind of gets me. But once it's on, like so, I mean, it looks good. Alright, and the last piece, I'll actually go down a little bit, is the gargoyle. There are so many iconic pictures of Batman, whether it be the comic, whether it be the, I guess even movies and whatnot, that just show him perched on a building, watching over the city, and there always seems to be a gargoyle there. So that's really cool, and I'm glad that they threw that in. Alright, now, what's cool is, it actually can be used as a pedestal for him. Let me make sure I'm zoomed out as far as I can be. We'll take a look at the gargoyle first so you can get a feel for its detail. Alright, and being that this is a 1/6 scale figure, I mean, this is a pretty big piece itself. I mean, front to back here, we're looking at, front to back, about 8 inches, not too far off. So, well, more like 7.5, but still, that's pretty big. Height-wise, we're looking at about 5 there. So, I mean, that's a big piece of work in itself. But what's cool about that is that since this figure is die-cast, this actually comes with metal, or not metal, magnets in it as well. So, taking a look at this, you know, if you want to have him just plain on it like so, I mean, it's pretty cool. The problem is the figure's so heavy that even with the magnets and whatnot, it does become kind of a feat to go ahead and pose him well. Let's go ahead and get that cape back on, because the cape is awesome. Well, then there we go. And alright, we are back. Sorry about that, but at the same time I did want to keep that part in the video because no figure's perfect, and that's one of the things you have to deal with when trying to get a good pose for this figure on the gargoyle. Now you see, once it's there, you know, it's not something that is, but that initial balancing and stuff like that, you know, it does take some getting used to, and I'm still getting used to it myself. In fact, let's go ahead and put the cape back on. Now that we've got him in that perfect pose. Oh. Okay, and there we go. We have an awesome picture of him with the gargoyle. In fact, I wish I had an opportunity to take a picture. But these are the accessories that come with the bat. We'll go ahead and get moved into the figure itself. Alright, so taking a look at the figure itself here, the first thing you'll notice, just because the camera is zoomed out, is how big it is. Once again, this is a 1/6 scale figure, and head to toe, it's actually slightly over 12 inches tall, but still in that 12-inch range. Not enough to take him out of a size class, that's for sure. Now, just so you guys can get a view of the figure from all angles. Okay. And he does have good stability and things like that. But at the same time, you know, he's so damn heavy that when he does fall, it's like, ah! But I like that they did, you know, do things like cover up all the screw holes and stuff like that. It's pretty much a must for a figure that's $300, but still nice to see. And just a very, very awesome figure in terms of proportion and stuff like that. This is geared towards, well, it's a Jim Lee edition figure, so it is made to emulate his art style, which does have a bit more of a not necessarily manga, but anime feel, you know, to it than a lot of American-styled comic book artists. But yeah, it's pretty darn cool. But to get a close-up of that face that they used for it, here we go. Let me focus here. Alright. I'm actually going to take the lights away a little bit so you can see the detailing on his face. Okay. And just looking here from head to toe, just so you can see the overall detail put into him. I do wish that maybe there was a clip or a place for his at least grappling gun to go, but I'm not going to complain too much on that one. Okay. Alright, and let's zoom back out. Alright, so this is a 1/6 scale figure, and these do have a lot of, articulation points and things like that, so I want to go over them. Alright, so starting head to toe, his head itself does move here at the top of the head. It's not on a ball joint or anything like that, so he doesn't have any ability to look up. The neck, there is some side-to-side swiggle, but front to back, unfortunately, cannot. It'd be nice if he could look up more, but he can't. So, alright, shoulders, fully ratcheting, very strong. Front and back, always a movement. So I've heard that these shoulder pieces are held on by a very small piece of plastic, and to be wary of those. I haven't had any problems with them, but it's because I've read and heard about it so much that I've been babying the hell out of this thing. So, anyway, he does have bicep swivel. Okay. Definitely has ratchet and elbows and whatnot. They don't have a lot of leeway because of the armor. Okay. And just to take a look, he's mostly die cast, but pieces like the shoulder pieces and these rubber spikes on his forearms, they are, well, they're rubber, I just said it. So, anyway, but looking, full articulation in the wrist here. And what's really cool is his fingers. I'm not going to lie. Let me zoom in there. Move that. Let me see if I can get some light. Okay. All of his fingers have a lot of articulation. The thumb there moves in. And each one of his fingers here has 4 points. One at the knuckle. And then, let me actually focus on it. 2, 3, 4. So it makes for a very good grip and whatnot. Now, keeping here. Won't stand on his own there. He does have ab crunch, as well as articulation there, and that. He doesn't have waist articulation, unfortunately. But, yeah, front to back in terms of the abs. Now, looking at his legs, zooming out a bit. Okay. Good rotation at the thigh. His thighs are pretty thick there, and they are armored. So it's not going to go much crazy higher than that, but it's definitely got that ball jointed type movement. And of course, it does give him some room to turn. Now his knees are strong as all get out. The ratchet here is insane. So there's that point of articulation for the knee, and there's also that point. So he has more than full articulation at the knee. So, and let's also go ahead and get him here. Yeah, he can definitely get on one knee, two knees, however you want to do it. He has a lot of articulation there. So, getting both of these areas back into play. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the feet. Alright. His feet are freaking awesome. He does have play in that ankle joint. His feet do swing front and back. Let's focus a little bit better. And he even has some play in the toes there. So when it comes to stability and stuff like that, he's a heavy figure, yeah, but he's definitely made with the kind of posability that is needed for a figure this big, this much die cast, etc., etc. Alright, and now that we've looked at the figure himself, we'll go ahead and move into my, as I knock him down, into my final thoughts. So let's let's go ahead and end this on a nicely posed up note. Like I said, I'm still getting used to the articulation and the balancing on this figure, so, you know, it is what it is. Alright, and my final thoughts on the figure. This is my first, worst. Well, I guess it technically is my worst because it is my first and only 1/6 scale figure. They definitely did a great job in terms of aesthetics. I love that the accessories are not so much that you have to wonder about plastic baggies and where I'm going to find this and that. But at the same time, they're all ones that are cool and well, not necessarily necessary, but really add to the figure, especially the gargoyle. The posability is awesome. He's a very hefty figure with the die cast, extremely posable, and well worth the $300 that this cost at retailers like Big Bad Toy Store. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you decide to go ahead and pick them up, definitely let me know what you think. And as per usual, like the video, subscribe, check me out on my site, kumastyle.com, and also on Twitter at KumaStyleGFX. This has been TJ Duckett with another Kumastyle review. Play Imaginative's Super Alloy 1/6 scale Jim Lee edition Batman. See you guys later. Have a great one.